Okay, well, hi everybody. Happy Friday to you. It is great to be surrounded by you all today. Great to see familiar names. We've got some folks from our event planning committee here, as always. And I think I know all of you, but for those who might not, my name is Barb, and I am the Director of Community Engagement here at the OEN. And just wanted to say a little thank you at the beginning for your flexibility in allowing us to reschedule this session. We hope that anybody who got a lot of snow and ice during last week's storm are safe and that you're doing well. I also want to acknowledge that a lot is happening in our country and some of our communities. And so I thank you all for being here truly as I really mean it when I say kind of being here with you is brings comfort and inspiration at a time that I think of a lot of us, I would imagine, could really benefit from the warmth of our community. So thank you, thank you. Great to be here. Going to start with our icebreaker. So kind of along these lines, when I was considering, what kind of icebreaker question should we start with? I have been leaning on music a lot lately. Oh, thanks, Kathy. I see your comment. Have been leaning into music, when we're feeling the feels or kind of needing comfort. And so this is the icebreaker question that we actually used when we did our similar session during OEN Engage last summer. And I thought it would be a great fitting one to do again to help us populate our Spotify playlist that we put together for scholarship matchmaking. So we would love to know if you prefer silence or music while you're working, especially while you're focusing on a research project or the types of projects that we're going to discuss today. And I'm a silence person, but if you are a person who likes to listen to music while working, put in maybe what song, artist, or type of music really inspires you in the chat. And then we've got a link here to our Spotify playlist that our community members helped populate this summer. So we'll be sure to add any new additions to that list. And you can also just go ahead and use that playlist perhaps for this later this afternoon as you get into your work. So let's see what we've got here. Depends on the project, Liza, totally. I would agree with that. Bach, Max Richter. Bach is indeed comforting, I would agree. Lo-fi music, Lord of the Rings. I think there are some Lord of the Rings songs on our Spotify playlist. That seems to be a popular one. Jazz and yacht rock. Oh yeah, love that yacht rock. Brown noise. Lori, I would be curious to know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check out that link. Not white noise, but brown noise. Classical guitar. Yes, Liz, I love Pandora for that of like not choosing a genre and then having it populate. Amanda needs music, indie folk, and again, depends on the day. Same here. And Ian, all different kinds. Ooh, yes, links. Thank you. Great. Well, hopefully, that gives you some musical inspiration for later and then helps you kind of get in the mindset of what we're going to talk about today, which is what we do when we collaborate, who we want to collaborate with, some ideas, and see if we can build any connections together. So, to kind of back up a moment and pause to set a little context around this session, today is a follow-up to our scholarship matchmaking facilitating open ed collaborations session that we hosted at OEN Engage. Any thumbs up or comments in the chat for anyone who is here for that session in July? Okay. If you're looking at this agenda, you'll see that it looks very familiar. That was the session where we introduced the OEN scholarship matchmaking spreadsheet that we're going to be talking about today. That's a tool that our event planning committee put together kind of based off of a Creative Commons similar spreadsheet that is a space where we can hopefully connect our community members with one another who are looking to collaborate on many different kind of open ed projects. So, yeah, we noted during that session that we'd have a follow-up session in January to kind of check in and see how things are going and just host another brainstorming and session and opportunity for you all to connect. So here we are. And I just want to ground what we're doing today in the notion that, we really believe that the greatest asset that we've got at the Open Education Network is our amazing community of people. And so always, whether you're newer to the field, whether you've been doing this for many years, we know that everybody's got something to contribute. So, and share. So if you're here seeking a collaborator, we appreciate your enthusiasm for that collaboration and generosity of your time. And we hope that today allows the opportunity for you to connect with someone, or at the very least, help spark some ideas for future collaborations. So we're going to start just kind of reviewing the spreadsheet once again to make sure that you are aware of it and everybody's on the same page about that as a tool for building these connections. We're really excited to have Liz Thompson from James Madison University and Liza Long from the State of Idaho Board of Education here. They're two people who have put their names on the spreadsheet, and so just kind of hear what their experience has been with it so far. And then we're going to do a Padlet brainstorm to kind of get our gears moving, see who's in the room and who's looking for what types of collaborations. And then at the end, we have optional breakout rooms listed. We're a tiny group today, so we might actually just remain in the main room to continue the discussion of ideas or kind of learn what people are looking for and see if we can make some of those connections between you all. But if it makes sense, maybe we'll break out depending on where the Padlet discussion goes. If there's themes that are bubbling up that certain people really want to focus on, maybe we break you off into breakouts so that you can connect on that particular topic and leave with some connections today. All right, next slide. Okay, so the scholarship matchmaking spreadsheet link has been dropped into the chat. Thank you, Melita, for doing that. And I've got a couple screenshots here of what it looks like just to review the idea of how this came to be. I would like to point to Liz, actually. She's one of the community members who shared that they would love some sort of tool to connect with others looking to do similar projects. And so we figured that this could be a great place to start. So this is that space to identify collaboration opportunities on 3 different categories at the moment: articles and writing projects. So that could be anything from research articles to book chapters, etc. Conference presentations. So that could be if you're looking to recruit panelists for a presentation that you might already have planned, or if you're looking for someone to collaborate with on a proposal that you want to submit. And then we also have a tab for guest speaking engagements, which you can use to indicate if you need someone to deliver a presentation at your institution or some other kind of event that you're hosting, or if you'd be willing to offer your time to present at another's institution. And with this particular tab, I want to point out that this is something that we all know and maybe hear a lot in our community of like, I tell the people at my institution all the time about, fill in the blank open education thing. But then when someone else comes from a different institution and shares that same information, it lands differently and can be, for whatever reason, perhaps stick with folks or be a little more powerful. So A, I've heard that a ton from our community members. And then B, I just want to give folks a nudge. I think if we get that populated to see who's seeking presenters, I also want to give everyone a nudge of having the confidence to know that you bring a lot of knowledge to the table and actually following up as a potential presenter. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. You can see that for each tab of the spreadsheet, there's different columns where you can identify your project, and that orange row has an example. You can see some are already populated in the actual spreadsheet. And so you can first identify if your project is a need for assistance or something that you'd like to offer. So again, can come at it from 2 different angles. And then you can describe the project, your goals, kind of share the important details around timeline, those kinds of things. And then we do have a status column at the end for you to indicate when the project changes in any way. So either it's expired, you kind of tie that one up nicely with a bow, you're no longer able to work on it for whatever reason, or you've made a connection and are no longer seeking input. So feel free to keep that updated if you do add your name to the list. Next slide. Okay, and then just coming back to this guest speaking engagement tab, I just want to note that the columns are a bit different on this one. So if you're kind of flipping between tabs, just be sure to read the column headings. This is one where you can indicate the topics you're looking for or willing to present on. The audience is really important in this one. So, who you'd be targeting, the availability range, and then other kind of general notes. So, I ran through that very quickly because that is not the meat of today's session, but that's kind of the scholarship matchmaking tool in a nutshell. Does anyone have any questions about it at the moment? Feel free to unmute or drop a question in the chat and we'll pause. Okay, pretty straightforward then, hopefully. All right, so as mentioned, we've got Liza and Liz here with us today. And the thought was, again, to just kind of have a community member to share about what their experience with this has been so far. Do feel free to put in a not shameless plug for maybe topics you're looking to collaborate on. But I'm going to turn it over to Liz. Liz, would you like to share? And then Liza can go next.
Sure, I'll jump in. Hi, everyone. I'm Liz Thompson. I'm the Open Education Librarian at James Madison University in Virginia. And I think I did suggest this maybe at like an OEN community scan, this idea, because I don't exactly remember when, but I remember thinking like, the Colleague Connector program is such a nice program that OEN runs, and I was like, what if we could do something like that, but in like the research and scholarship area? So I don't know. I think the spreadsheet is a really kind of elegant way to give it a try. And I know it's not everybody's preference to collaborate on research and scholarship, but I am not great at the solo research work. So I always love to have another person to bounce ideas off of and things like that. So I thought, I'm not the only person doing open ed work at my institution, but oftentimes my research agenda is different than the other folks that I work with. So anyway, it's sometimes kind of hard to make those connections outside of your institution. But I did add my research project to the spreadsheet. And in fact, I think I may have expanded it a little bit under the writings and articles section. Because I am working on a research project right now, kind of taking one of those big open, like I guess, course materials, student surveys about affordability that you see, like either at the consortial level or the Florida survey, I think was the one that I see a lot because they do theirs very regularly. So I was trying to do that just at my institution. But then I also have several years worth of data at my institution, so I'm thinking about it longitudinally. So now, like, I'm looking at it like just as a snapshot in 1 year, but then also looking at it over time to see how things are trending and changing. And so I put both of those down as projects that I'm working on in the articles and writing section. I haven't really engaged with the spreadsheet a lot yet, but I'm really hoping to more in the future. And I try to remember to check in regularly. And I think there was a note, and maybe, I don't know, Barb, if you can talk to this at all, but can't you like set it up so you get like notifications if somebody responds in the spreadsheet? And I think I set that up. So whenever somebody makes an addition or change, I think I get a notification, which is a super nice addition.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Liz. And just to toot her horn a bit, she is the first one. I think it was the community scan 4 years ago where she brought that up, and I was like, oh, this is a genius idea. Let's figure out how to make this happen. And it just kind of came to be in this past year, thanks to our event planning committee. So thank you, Liz. And that is a feature to be able to set those notifications. So thanks for mentioning that as well. Liza?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just learned something new. I'm going to go set that notification right now. So, thanks for the opportunity to be a part of this group and to talk about this. I actually realized as I was looking over the spreadsheet, which I think I filled out after the July meeting, which feels like it was about 2.5 years ago for me. I don't know how it's been for y'all, but like It's been a lot. Anyway, I did make a connection, one that's been really great for me. We haven't actually collaborated on research, but we've had some great conversations, and that's Amy Chen with the tribal conferences. So I kind of connected with Amy through the spreadsheet. She gave me a call. We talked through some AI issues, and then we got to meet at OpenEd. So and we've continued those conversations. So it really works. Obviously, I would love to get more traction on this spreadsheet. What I posted in all three areas. I work at the intersection of open education and writing instruction. So I'm really interested in how artificial intelligence is transforming what we do with first year writing. And my role changed very suddenly, like actually after I filled out this form. So I'd been a community college English professor for a long time and had this sudden opportunity to go to the state board and basically to be the academic technology program manager there. So I'm even more interested in AI and OER. Both of those things fall under my wheelhouse now. So I'm going to be sharing this out with my groups. We run a community of practice in Idaho called the Opal Plus AI group. And I'm also going to be sharing it out with, I facilitate with Rebus. So I'm going to be reminding them about this scholarship matching. I think it's just a great opportunity for folks to connect. And my contact information is on there. Anytime you just want to talk about AI, like I am very much interested in that conversation. So feel free to reach out. Yeah, that's been my experience with it, Barb. I realized when you asked me, I was like, oh, that's how I met Amy.
That's so great. And as you were talking, here I am, the person who was like, Liza, want to join? And I didn't really realize that either. And it's fun because I was standing with you two at the Open Ed conference,
Yes, you
and
were.
I didn't even know. How exciting.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. But we talked right after this spreadsheet came out in the summer. So yeah, it was really great. So.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad to hear that that's been a fruitful outcome so far of the spreadsheet. As you can see on the screen here, we have a link that's also in the chat. So I'm going to ask Lorraine actually to maybe stop sharing the screen. But as Liza shares her own screen with the Padlet on it, oh, wow, what a seamless transition. Nicely done. So we're going to take a moment before Liza has to scoot off in a bit. And we've got this Padlet here to kind of move through some questions to get our gears moving and learning about what other folks are looking for here and kind of get the discussion going. So Liza, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to see what you all have to say about this. Starting with, what is a gap or a new trend in open ed that you wish someone would research or publish on? So I think we all know how Padlets work, I'm hoping. I'm not really great at teaching Padlet, but I think you can just hop in and like it and comment on this. And I'll give you a second to think about that. So if you open it up, you should be able to write a comment on there.
And I'll add too, thank you so much, Liza. We're such a small group too. If anyone wants to just unmute and verbally share, I think that works well in this size today.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. There I go. I want to be a benevolent puma. That's my favorite thing about Padlets, honestly. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. We could just talk. There's just not that many people here, so we could just talk as you're thinking about gaps or trends in research. I'll check the chat too. You could put it in the chat. Although the nice thing about the Padlet is we can capture that information, which I think is really helpful. So you're looking down at your scribble notes on your calendar, Kathy. Oh my gosh. Well, you could probably see, because I'm showing my screen, I have like, what, 25 tabs open, and that's just one browser profile. So yeah, relatable. So I put that I'm interested in how people are using large language models. And then we've got the use of AI to locate content. Oh, that is such a great, I haven't seen anything published on that either. That is a really, really great thought. I wonder what that would even look like. I'm gonna like introduce the next question just in the interest of time, but if you have stuff to add, I really do think it's helpful and we can talk too, but it's helpful with the Padlet for us to be able to capture some of those ideas. So feel free to pop that in there, looking at gaps or new trends. But this one might be a little easier for some of us. What projects or ideas are you personally interested in pursuing? So if you click on that Padlet, love to see you comment on that. I'll hop in and do mine too. Which I've already said. Anything with AI in first year writing instruction for me. Ethics. Oh, yeah, those are, and there's, I don't know if you know, I'm gonna add a comment to yours. Fearless Octopus, John Ippolito is somebody to Google on that topic. He's got some great stuff. Let's see what else we're coming up with. My GovDocs librarian is wanting to highlight how GovDocs can be used in OER. Huh. That's government documents. Yeah, Kathy. I mean, it's public domain, right?
Right.
Talk to
The
us a little
federal
bit
ones
more
are, and
about
she's
that.
got such great, listening to her talk about government documents, it makes it exciting. And we connected with the creative writing department earlier this year to kind of point to some climate data for the folks that are writing climate fiction. Um, and we found examples of collaborations, like Lewis, when folks have been pulled in on those major grant efforts, like a geography book but I haven't been able to surface sustained small scale initiatives. We don't really have any funding to throw at it right now, but we're trying to, like how, like this small OER movement, how can we, and it maybe not even using it as creating an OER, but trying to help people find their way to it and incorporate it in their teaching.
Has anyone else run into the problem with that? Like I love it because it's public domain, right? But like I ran into a problem this year with links not working. I wondered if anyone else had experienced that.
I
Like I
think
would, yeah.
Liz has, and that's another neat reason to get our group in a conversation with them, because they have like this little guerrilla process that they are doing to archive them that they do every 4 years, but they started this round just like, so her office is right around the corner, so I can hear a lot of her conversations, but like a year ago, December, hearing in some of the meetings, well, where are we going to put that? How are we going to save that? And it's fascinating to hear how diligent they are about protecting that data, anticipating that links might be broken or something, and they can steer us
Yeah.
towards where they've stashed it. So I think that's another
That's
neat
a
reason to kind of
great
bring the OER community into conversation with them, but I don't know how to do it.
That's actually a really great point. I feel like that might be something we want to focus on because it is the preservation of knowledge right now, kind of in our situation. That's fantastic. I'm just checking back really quick. I think someone else, workflow and workflow with MOUs. Yeah, that's a great thing as well. Well, again, you can keep adding to any of these, but I want to move on to the next question. Is there a tool, a method, or a platform you'd love to try, but you need a partner to explore it with? Um, and I'll offer to be your partner for Notebook LM. If any of you want to try Notebook LM out, reach out. I'd love to learn more about what we're thinking about here. Seeing we're less engaged with that than the projects and ideas. I'm going to go back and check on that one. Our wise narwhal has synthesizing other OER studies and projects to further analyze how they are used, the challenges and the potentials. So like basically, you know what, that's a really great idea. Like sometimes in OER, it feels like we're just so just in time and just like, trying to create like OER that maybe it would be helpful. This would basically be a meta-analysis, right? Looking at OER studies and doing a meta-analysis. That is a fascinating idea. I really, really love that idea. You guys are great. I'm not seeing much response with our tools and methods. So I know that we have a lot of I would love to capture this in the Padlet. What skills or qualities do you bring to the table? Come on, guys, let's go brag. Add your comments. I have AI. It's all I have. My shtick. I'm loving the chat too. Yeah, share your skills and talents here, guys. This is a great place for us to capture some of that. Let's see what else we got. K-12 OER. Excellent. Instructional materials coordinator, program development, learning science. Oh, I love you mentioned curiosity, Kathy. Okay, qualitative and quantitative analysis. These are great skills. I might have to reach out to some of you. Like I'm working on a paper right now. We surveyed all Idaho faculty on AI, and my partner and I we have to stop at descriptive statistics. We have a great data set. But that's another thought that I had, right? We're talking about how can we openly license our data set so that other folks could come in and run those correlative tests and things like that really kind of beyond us. So these are all great research questions. A love of rabbit holes. So essential. Is that a librarian? I'm wondering. An instructional technology. You guys, this is fantastic. I love it. I want to skip over. I'm gonna have to leave in just a second. I apologize too. Barb, I want to get so involved with this group. Y'all are so amazing. And then I always have stuff at the same time. So I gotta work on my schedule. But I'm curious about like questions. Actually, I'd love to do about what excites you. So let's just end on that one. When you think about collaborating, like what is really exciting about that? I know for me what it is. I love to learn from folks. Yeah, more brains in the room. Seeing some great stuff here. Just take a second and share when you think about the idea of collaborating with others, what is exciting? Generating ideas. It's the spirit of OER. Amen to that. That's great. New skills, new topics. I'm going to type one more word that just came to me. It's community. I mean, that's what OEN is, right? It's community. I think it's a powerful opportunity that we have. Yes, having our thinking challenged. All right, gang. Well, thanks for playing. I'll stop sharing. And you should have that Padlet now, Barb, so you guys can take a look at some of the things, the knowledge we captured there. And I appreciate everybody and your perspectives. And I will hope to see you all again soon. Stay warm. I'll see you later.
Liza. So yeah, I reached out to Liza and she's like, well, I'll have to leave at the 30 minutes. And I'm like, you're amazing and we'd love to have you. So thank you to her for stepping in for that moment. Have a great rest of the day, everybody. Thank you for being here and thank you so much for your dedication to collaborating with others in our community.